for listening to Bizarrely Carly. My name's Carly, and today my special guest is Brittany. After backpacking solo through Europe and parts of Canada, Brittany realized that her passion and love for traveling became a lifestyle. Her goal and dream was to buy and renovate a home on wheels. She made her dreams come true, and she would not trade the minimalist lifestyle for anything. Join us as we discuss what it's like to travel the world solo and what it's like to live the minimalist lifestyle in a home on wheels. So,
Cool.
I am so happy that you agreed to talk to me
Oh my
today.
God, thank you so much for inviting me, asking me. I feel so honored and I love talking about my travels. And so this is amazing.
Yeah, I'm super excited. I've been looking for, and I know a lot of people who I've talked to, like, are so excited for this too, to hear like your stories. My mom, especially, I told her
Aw,
I was meeting with you today. She's like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear." She's like, "Go over your questions with me," because she wanted to include some. She wanted to make sure
yeah,
any questions she had were included because, yeah, it's really fascinating. So I know I'm not the
that's
only one who's
awesome.
going to be interested in your
That's awesome.
stories.
I love it. I feel it. Yeah, I'm so honored and blessed. Like, thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. So let's start with, I guess, your travels would be a good place to start. Now, how old were you when you first traveled alone?
Um, I did my first solo trip out west in Alberta. I was I wanna say I'm going back to, like, 2018, 2017 maybe? Um, do the math, I'm 31 now.
So most of your
Um,
adventures have happened in really a short amount of time then, because it's only
literally, yeah, like, when I first, I knew I wanted to go backpacking through Europe, and going out west was kind of my test run, I guess you can kinda call it. I didn't really have a plan. I bought a plane ticket, and less than a week later, I was I was on the plane to go out west, and, I was there for a couple weeks, just, like, backpack through the mountains, and honestly, it was amazing. I don't regret a thing. It was, like I still call it my spiritual journey. I find something so magical about the mountains. That was my little, like, test run, and then I came home, and maybe a month later, less than a month, I was gone to Europe. I was off to Europe.
now, did you know anybody out west when you went, or were you completely solo?
I was completely solo. I do have a few friends out there that I did end up visiting, which was so nice to see them that are actually, like, from here, like, the Niagara region. So it was nice seeing them that I haven't seen them in years, and I
That's
still keep
awesome.
in contact, and yeah,
So from there you went to Europe. And
went to
so what was it
Europe.
like preparing to go? I have to ask, like, before you even went, what was that like building yourself up to go? Because 'Cause I'd imagine that would be kind of I would be stressed. I
I
would be
was
anxious.
I was still on my high from getting back from out west, so I just wanted to go. I was ready to go, and, yeah, I I lost my train of thought.
It's okay. So where were you going first when you went to Europe?
I flew into London, and that was where I started, um, and then from there, from London or do you want, like, all the countries in order? Because 'Cause I'm not gonna remember that.
No, it's okay. If you can't remember that,
So,
that's okay.
yeah, I started in London and then ended in Greece, so it was like a big half a moon circle that I ended up doing through Europe. There's a lot of countries that I still would love to see that God knows when we'll be able to travel again,
Unfortunately, yeah. I miss
unfortunately.
traveling too, and I didn't travel nearly as much as you. Um, how many countries did you see in that time?
Uh, 13? I believe,
Wow.
with 13 countries within like a two-month span.
And that was in 2 months.
Yeah, crazy.
And you just
It's
brought a
crazy.
backpack with you?
Literally had my backpack and like one of those backpacking backpacks, and literally like a school backpack that I wore right here, and a fanny pack. That's all I had.
And where
Like
did you
thinking
stay?
hostels, sometimes these little like shed looking places. Like when I stayed in Greece, it was like, oh, the worst experience ever. It was literally like a shed. I didn't even have like a garbage pail. I didn't have a mirror. It was
So did you
it
find
was
these places,
horrible.
like, as you went? Or did you plan
Yeah,
before you left, did you plan where you were gonna stay?
not really. No, like even thinking about like when I went out west, I didn't really have a plan. Like I knew I knew that where I was gonna stay like the one night, and then I would just kind of wing it and drive to depend on what city I was in, and then I would just quickly look online, hostels nearby or Airbnbs nearby, and I would just kind of like wing it from there. I never really had a plan. I never really have a plan. I just like going with the flow, and I don't know if that's terrible to say. It's
I don't think so.
some people love having a plan, and it's so good to have a plan, but I never really had a plan. I just ride the wave and whatever happened, happened.
Were you ever scared, like, before you went, while you were there? Because, like, I'm the type of person who I need a plan. I plan things down to the T, but I
Mhm.
love the idea of not having a plan whatsoever. It's just my anxiety and, like, that controlling aspect, like, I feel like I need it to keep
Yeah.
myself from completely, like, getting anxious about the whole thing. But I would love the idea of just, you know, having no plan and just seeing where life takes you. So did you ever have
Yeah.
anxiety at all, or, like, how did you feel?
Um, I felt a little bit of anxiety when I did a few hikes, especially in Nova Scotia and Alberta, just because there's tons of wildlife, and there's always signs like have protector bear spray and like all that stuff, and like hiking that alone when you don't have those needs with you. As soon as I started the hike, I would find like a big stick in the beginning of my hike, and every so often when I'd walk, I'd wave this big stick to make me look bigger and like more intimidating because I'm like kind of a petite uh girl.
Yeah.
When
You won't be able to
um
take on a bear, is that what you're saying?
I mean, I would try. But yeah, no, I would just kind of like wave this big stick to make myself look bigger every few steps, and that worked out for me. Although it was still a little bit nerve-wracking at times, but I never had any issues. I never saw any wildlife or anything when I was walking,
What
so I'm
about
grateful
going into
that's not the
Europe?
only. You know what? For the most part, I felt pretty safe. I took a nap in Budapest at like a random park. I woke up and I did like patted my pockets and looked around. I'm like, nothing's missing. I'm like, okay. So like I felt pretty safe in Europe.
And you weren't anxious going into it at all?
No, I was excited to get away. I felt like I needed it. I have zero regrets.
Do you feel
I
like you
have
were being
zero.
called to it almost? Like your
Yeah,
soul needed it?
yeah,
I get
like
that.
100%.
Yeah, I get that because I feel that way a lot of times, like I said, like, I really do feel like my soul's being called to do something like that. My
Yeah,
issue is just I have that anxiety where it sounds like you have just the excitement takes over everything else,
yeah.
and you just, like, go all in.
Fear, fear tricks us for living like a boring life. Not saying that your life is boring, what or people, you know what I mean? Just fear in general, like it's a manipulative emotion that
Yeah.
tricks us for living a boring life, and that's I love fear. That's how we grow.
Yeah. But it also stops us from doing s things that, where you just look at it and you maybe see the risks, but you're missing out on what could be very rewarding
Absolutely.
experience, right? And I'm
Absolutely.
sure now we're gonna get into a little more, but I'm sure
Mm.
um, you could tell us more about what you got out of your whole experience.
Yeah.
But we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Okay.
I feel like that would be a good way to end things, would be to kinda discuss w what you got out of that. Now, do you have any tips or tricks for someone who might wanna do a solo trip? Do you have any advice?
Oh, this going back to planning. Again, it's so nice to have a plan. Um, getting back to Europe, it people get discouraged about Europe because they think that it costs a lot of money, and honestly, it's just the plane ticket getting there. When you're there, it's so cheap. It's so cheap to eat. It's so cheap to the hostels. When I was in Italy, I flew Italy to Greece for 30-40 dollars.
Wow.
Like it's it's ridiculous.
Wow.
It's so cheap.
So just save
Um,
the money to get there.
just save the money for a plane ticket home, there and to get home. When you're there, you're you're laughing, you're golden. You're $10 gets you like to eat food on your belly for 2 days.
Wow. Now, where
um
was your favorite place to go?
um honestly, back to the mountains. I love Alberta, BC. Um it's just I have this spiritual connection with the mountains. That's where I felt like I found myself. Um in Europe, Budapest, Amsterdam, Italy was beautiful, but not the touristy like Rome. I'm not hating on like Rome and Florence and all that. It's beautiful, but getting away from like the touristy spots where it's not so touristy and you're just taking in like the culture. The Amalfi Coast in Italy, that was beautiful. Um, yeah, those are probably like my top threes, my top fours.
Now, what kind of experiences did you have while you were traveling?
What like cool things did I see?
Yeah, like I'm sure along the way you probably met people or seen things or did things that.
Yeah, I I still keep in contact with a lot of people that I met through traveling. That's why I love traveling by myself. I loved hearing everybody else's stories of like why are they there's always a reason why people are, backpacking or traveling by themselves, and I loved hearing everybody's story. I felt like that was the most unique part of traveling, really. Um yeah.
Did you try any, like, different foods or I don't know, like, what kind of things did you actually do while you were there?
The weirdest food, or I guess it's not weird, but the first time, I tried bison for the first time when I was out west. It was like a bison chili, and honest to God, it was the best chili I've ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah, I was kinda turned off. I'm like, "Bison?" I'm like, "Eh." I was like, "Well, we only live once. I'm only gonna have this opportunity to try bison in Alberta this
Well,
month." And honestly, it was the best chili ever.
that's awesome.
Um Other than that, like, I didn't try any unique foods or anything, like, Italy, pasta and pizza, um, pork schnitzels. There was a lot of pork schnitzels in Europe, pierogies, and all that stuff I eat down here. So
Yeah, that's
it
true.
wasn't a unique food or anything like that. some of the cool places that I seen in Europe. When I was at when I was in Italy, I went to the Vatican and I saw Pope Francis read one of the Sunday prayers, I guess you can call it. That was really cool. I will probably
Cool.
never see Pope Francis again in my life. And even though I'm not like that religious, and it was still an experience to yeah, it was really cool. I didn't take anything that for granted for sure. Um, another I hate to say like cool place. Again, I will never see it again. I went to the Auschwitz camp, which was very sobering experience. Uh, very sad, but
Imagine that would be quite an experience to go there, and I'd
yeah,
imagine it'd be
it
pretty emotional.
it was. I don't think I remember talking at all after, like, leaving there. I don't remember talking for the rest of the day. I was just, like, so shook.
Yeah.
I was like, "Damn."
Yeah,
But
I can imagine.
it was nuts. Um, the Sistine Chapel where, Michelangelo painted the ceiling, another amazing like, blessed to have seen that. Um, when I was in the Czech Republic, I went to this bone church, and literally when I say bone church, it was just bones. It was just made of human bones, 40,000 to 70,000 human bones that were in this church.
Wow.
Nuts. It
I've
was
never heard of
called
that before.
yeah, I took note. Kut Pardon, I'm probably saying it wrong. Kutna Hora.
Wow.
Kutna Hora, other than known as like the Bone Church in the Czech Republic. Amazing. It was another like cool experience like that I've will never see again, but very like blessed to have seen that in my life. Um, yeah.
That's pretty I don't know how I would feel. Did you go into this church?
Mm,
And there's bones on the inside or on the outside or both?
no, they're all on the inside. Yeah, they had this huge chandelier, and in this chandelier, it was made out of every human bone in like your body. Like it's nuts. If you ever get like Google the Bone Church in Czech Republic, Kutna Hora. It's mind blowing. It's just all bones.
I don't think I wanna know the answer to this question.
It's very cool. It's
Where
really
where
cool.
where did the bones come from? Like,
Humans,
humans?
humans. Yeah,
Wow.
nuts, eh?
Wow. That's wild. Can
Mm-hmm.
definitely say I've never seen a bone anything. I'm kinda glad, to be honest, but that does sound really awesome. Like, it does sound like
Definitely an experience.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it smelled funny. I remember that. I remember
I'd
it smelling
imagine it
really
was.
funny down there.
Was it, like, underground?
Yeah, you had to walk. Yeah, it was like not that underground, not too much underground, but you did have to like walk down a few stairs, and then it was just
Sounds so creepy.
like a big cellar.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
very cool.
Wild. It's wild to say that you have been in a church made of human bones. Not very many people can say that, I'm sure.
No, no. 40 to 70,000 human people
Wow.
of
Cra
human people bones. Crazy.
crazy. So do you prefer going to, like I feel like I'm gonna know the answer to this already because you answered already that you love out west.
Mhm.
Do you prefer going to the warmer climates or, like, the cooler climates?
Ooh. Well,
Or do you feel like both have
good
something to offer
question.
you?
Yes, I think both. I do love the warmer weather, especially now in winter. Um, but I do have this appreciation for I think snow and, like, the mountains are just so beautiful. It's it sucks with the cold, yes, but put up with it and you dress warm and be prepared, and it's it's breathtaking.
Yeah, I
I like both.
agree.
I like both. Versatile.
Yeah, I'd have to say the same for myself.
Yeah.
I think both have something to offer.
Yeah, yeah, they really do, yeah. I could be sitting on a beach with toes in the sand and I'll be happy as a clam, or I can be tits deep in snow and, still be happy as a clam. Um, okay, yeah, so I have a few reasons to travel, at least one point in your life. Um, what I've experienced also, you definitely become more, like, social, um, getting back, like, I was never, like, a social person before traveling. I always, like, kept to myself, and I didn't think I was very independent person, and I think traveling definitely, like, made me a more social and independent person. Um, you you'll become better at, like, going with the flow, again, having no plan, I just go with the flow. Um, you'll get out of your comfort zone. You'll become your own best friend, and I feel like it's it's huge. That's so important. Like, some people hate to be alone, and you're just you'll become your own best friend. You'll realize that you don't need anybody else to be happy, and loving yourself is always should always come first before anyone, before anything. Mm,
And that's
Yeah.
the number one thing I think people struggle with too,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
That seems to be one of the biggest things people struggle with is loving themselves. So
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah,
great if by traveling alone, I feel like it would be a way to discover yourself.
girl,
You gotta
speak
start
to
with
me.
that, right?
Mhm. Yep. 100%. Yeah. And like lastly, you'll become better in talking to strangers. Getting back, like I loved hearing everybody's story. Like they're strangers to me. I got their story and now, I consider them friends
Especially
as
having friends
all
all
that.
over the world, right?
Exactly, yeah. And whenever we're able to travel again, you that's why I always say whenever you're in Canada or, Niagara Falls, you have a place to stay. And then oh, whenever you're in Australia, you have a place to stay. Perfect.
Awesome.
Always having that door open is key, I
That's
find.
awesome. Yeah, for sure.
Travel at least once in your life. And girl, I remember you going on your that camping trip by yourself.
Yes.
Wasn't that like it's like wasn't that beautiful?
You know what? I would love to do it again. I wasn't really like
It's still
there were people,
still
but I was on my own and, I ran out of firewood early, and so it was like 10 o'clock, and I was just laying there in my tent, and I'm just, like, listening to all the noises,
yeah.
and but there was something really the word is, like, freeing about just not having somebody else influence what you're gonna do or what you're thinking or talking about or, like, you're doing what you want, when you want, how you want,
Yeah.
and being with
Having no
nature is so therapeutic and just
Yeah,
feeling that fresh air and yeah, I
absolutely.
really enjoyed it. I would like to do it again someplace more, like, I
Secluded
actually,
or
yeah, I would like to go to a cabin, I think, and go
yeah.
someplace secluded for a week by myself. I think that would be a good starting point for me.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that.
Now, I don't know if this is gonna make it onto YouTube, the video itself. So if it doesn't, I'm gonna describe what I'm looking at for people who are listening, because you are sitting right now in the most beautiful van,
Thank
your
you.
home.
My home on wheels.
It is gorgeous.
Thank you. It's kind of messy right now. Like I said, I was like, oh, I'll do like a quick cleanup
I think it looks
and
fantastic. So did you want to talk about your van life?
sure.
All right, so you were traveling
hmm
and you got back.
I got back and honestly, I'm trying to remember how I don't know if I saw it online about someone about van life or someone had it or I wish I could remember how I got my first vision, my first dream of it. Um, I'm sure it was online. Everyone sees everything online and then they're like, "Oh, they have a vision." Um, yeah,
Um, the van. So you got the
man.
you went traveling. You came back from
Yes.
traveling, and at
Yes.
some
Oh,
point you decided you wanted to get a van
mhm.
and you wanted to live in the van.
Yep.
But first, you'd have to find a van
Yes.
and make it all
Which
pretty.
yes. It took me I was looking at vans for a long time. I've like a couple years, uh, looking at different going to look at different vans. I went and looked at like a few short buses. I had the idea of like converting just like a mini van, like a soccer mom van. Um, yeah, it just nothing felt right. You know, and you just get that feeling that th- you just get that feeling that
You know what you
and
want.
yeah, you know what you want, and I never got that feeling that this is the one, this is, and I went and looked at this and um it needed a lot of work. Like she's old, but the guy that I bought it off of was a mechanic. He took really good care of like the engine and all that. The body is kind of, yeah, that's down the road. But anyways, we're veering off track here. The inside, it needed a lot of work, and I knew I had the vision of what I wanted to do with it. Yet it it almost took me like just shy of a year to gut it and gut most of it, at least the floor, the walls. It reinsulated the walls and um yeah, it was just shy of a year to get it where it is right now, and it's to me, it's not 100% done. There I still wanna tweak it up a little bit in some spots, but I'm just at the point where I'm happy where it is right now. I just wanna enjoy it. Plus, I don't wanna be working on it outside in the middle of winter, Canadian winter right now. Come spring or summer, maybe I'll do, like, a few tweaks around here, but right now, that's where it's I'm happy where it is right now.
Now, did you do the work yourself?
Yeah, I
And
did a lot of things. I learned along the way, YouTube videos, just trial and error on my end. Like I went through the it's white now, like the walls and like as you can see the cabinets are white, but that was like my third color. I went from like this ugly gray to like red and I was just like, nothing, it didn't feel right. So I just went white.
it
So
makes it look open, right, with the white?
yeah, it pops. I think it makes it more like modern.
Yeah,
Yeah, I like the white. I'm gonna keep the white. Theme is like white and black. I like it.
I like it too. So are
Thank
you
you.
are you living full time?
Yeah,
So everything you own is in that van, pretty much?
pretty much just everything that I need in an everyday life. Clothes, my makeup.
Food.
Food, yeah.
And where do you,
Yeah,
where
that's
do you park? Or do you, like, drive around and park different places or
yeah, it all depends. Right now, like my home base, meaning like we're in the middle of a pandemic. I would obviously love to be somewhere warm right now instead of, here in Ontario in a winter. No, my goal this winter, like before the COVID-19 stuff happened, I wanted to be in the California coast right now and just
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
yeah, that was my goal. But hopefully maybe next year or the year after that.
So right
But
now you're just parked?
uh my home base is my mom's driveway, work parking lot, or I've been doing like a few like weekend trips here and there. Not not since the whole second lockdown, like this more recent lockdown. Trying to be responsible of trying not to travel.
Yeah.
Not like not like I'm coming in contact with anyone anyways. If I stock up on food and my propane, I'm good for a couple months.
Yeah, it would just be you.
Yeah, a lot of you know what, a lot of people are so judgmental though, and I'm just like I couldn't be bothered.
Yeah.
I'm
It's
just
just
gonna I'm
easier
just gonna
to
s- I'm just gonna sit this out and hope for the best. I am going stir crazy. I've never stayed in one spot in
this
so long.
long.
Like, yeah, it's been almost like a year since I've traveled. I've never maybe, yeah. I'm trying to think. The last place that I went was Nova Scotia, and that was maybe about a year ago, maybe. But yeah, I'm going a bit stir crazy.
I
This
can
is the
imagine.
longest I've been in one place.
Yeah,
I miss it.
since you
Yeah.
started your adventures, you went go, go, go.
I miss it. I miss traveling, honestly. It's therapeutic for me to travel and yeah, it sucks. But this is life. This is our life now, boo.
I know. Hopefully not forever. I miss traveling too. Hopefully life will allow us to travel again soon. I guess
Yeah,
time really will
hopefully.
tell.
Get
Let's
it like
just
getting back to like traveling in the van though. I think I'm gonna stay in Canada for I want to see more Canada. I want to build uh the Canadian economy back up before going over to the States. Not like we can cross the border anyways, but just saying, for example, that the borders did open up. I would rather put my traveling in the Canadian economy than putting it into America or anywhere else.
It's such a beautiful country to see.
It really is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I want to see more of it.
Yeah. And that's pretty awesome. You got everything you need right there.
Hmm.
Now, what are the pros and cons of living in a van?
Well, taking a poop is like is really hard. Uh, other than digging a hole, which is it's fine. I don't mind using the bathroom outside. Um, but I'm fortunate that I'm in, my mom's driveway in like my home base. I do have like a washroom. I do have a toilet in my van, but I don't poop in it. Uh I showers, I do have an outdoor shower. I'm obviously not using the shower in winter, but in the summer it's great. It's amazing. I love it. Yeah, those are definitely cons, but pros, honestly, I love the minimalist lifestyle. I honestly wouldn't change it for anything. This You don't need much to be happy in life, and this having this small space is happy to me. This is joy. This is happiness.
Would you find that you were somebody before who put value on having things, or do you think you were always kind of like this? Or did something happen to kind of change?
Ooh, what a good question, Carly.
Because for
Ooh,
me,
girl.
I'll let
Uh-huh.
you think about it for a second. Because for
Yeah.
me, I have things. random random things everywhere, and I love my things,
Mhm.
but I also know that they don't like, a lot of my stuff is sentimental, like, I have a sentimental
Mhm.
attachment to things, and
Yeah.
people in my life are always telling me I have too many things and that I should get rid of my things, and I have this, like, hard time with it, even though I know that I don't that there's no that happiness isn't based on that,
Mhm.
so also, the idea of living a minimalist lifestyle is so intriguing to me and would be something that I wish and I hope one day I'm able to do.
Mhm.
So I need to know, were you ever like me or have you always
Yeah.
been a minimalist?
No, I don't throw anything out like, birthday cards or, like, notes from, like, back in elementary school. I still have those. They're all in boxes. I'm thankful that I have my mom's basement to store all that stuff. Um, yeah, I still keep those stuff, but they're just not here in the van.
Right. So in your daily life, you just have what's necessary
Yeah,
for
what to
survival
get
and
by
what makes you
day by
happy.
day. Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. That's good
Mhm.
to know. I'll just let
Yeah.
my mom know that she's always gonna have my boxes in her basement, even when I move out, if I get a
And you
van
know what,
one
like,
day.
I watched a few, documentary shows on, like, Netflix and stuff like that about living the minimalist lifestyle and how like, I love purging, it does make me feel good about when I purge my clothes or it feels good to get rid of a lot of stuff, but then again, like, I like keeping the sentimental stuff because I don't maybe one day I'll have kids, and I would love to pass that down and have a story behind everything that still means a lot to me.
Yeah, okay,
But
so we're a lot alike in that sense.
yeah, yeah. Of course.
Now, where do you so I'm assuming because my next question for you is where you hope to travel in the future. So, you have already kinda touched on that. You wanna travel Canada.
Yeah.
I'm assuming doing a winter in California is still on your bucket list.
Eventually sometime in my life. Alaska, I would love to get to Alaska. Oh my god, what a dream. Um Yeah, like, other than seeing more of Canada, doing the California coast, Alaska, I would love to do Asia. I would love to see, like, Laos, Vietnam, Thailand, like, that that's definitely a bucket list. Obviously, not with the van,
Oh,
but
that's
my van
some
would
van
I'd
you
put it on a
have.
boat I'd put my van on the boat, and I wouldn't even see it for a year. It'd take, like, a goddamn year to boat over there. Not actually, but like, everywhere is I would love to see it everywhere in the world.
I guess the greatest thing too about your van situation, like you having living out of your van, is when you do decide to when the world allows you to travel
Mm,
again, you can just pick up and go and you're not locked into having to pay for rent or a mortgage.
yeah. My rent, is van insurance, and honestly, it's so cheap. It's ridiculous how cheap it is.
That's awesome. Good for you.
I encourage everyone to start living van life, or you know what? I always say, like, if you're thinking about doing van life or, living the minimalist lifestyle, rent an RV or rent a van and live in it for a week, 2 weeks, a month. Try it out because some people, it's not made for them. Some people like the idea of it and then start living it and they're like, "Oh my god, like I can't do this." So that's like what I encourage if people is thinking about doing van life. Rent an RV, rent a van, try it out. Yeah.
That's
It's
one way
it's
to know for
it's life
sure.
changing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Before putting all that money into something that you don't know that, like, if you're gonna like for sure, do it for the rest of your life, I definitely suggest doing
I showed my mom your YouTube. Can you plug it? What was it on?
that. YouTube, Van Clans,
Van Clans. They did a
Van
segment
Clans.
on the Cream Dream,
Yeah,
the van,
the cream
and
dream.
I showed my mom, and within like 10 minutes, she's like on Kijiji looking up vans like
Oh, I
yours.
love it. I love it.
She's like looking them up. Oh, what's this? I'm like, oh man, we're doing this, huh, mom? She didn't find one yet, but yeah, you
Yeah, they're
definitely
kind of.
inspired her.
Oh, I love it. I'm
And
here to inspire others.
yeah, and you will, and you are, trust me.
It's amazing.
I'm on your Instagram all the time, and I'm like, this girl is living life. That's awesome. Many people live in fear instead of actually just living. So I think
Yeah,
that's pretty awesome. And seeing somebody else who's actually doing it, and they're not getting kidnapped and held hostage or breaking down on the side of the road for months on end, or all these worst case scenarios we develop in our heads when these ideas come to mind. You
hmm
automatically think of worst case scenarios, and you really don't think about the fact that, hey, like, you go on this trip, you see the world, you get to experience, you feed your soul, like,
Yeah,
y-
absolutely.
that's
hmm
the most important thing above anything else, right? It's like you said
Girl.
earlier, fear gets in the way of that way too often.
Yeah, it's a manipulative emotion for sure. It's fear is what drives us to be, you know, who who we're supposed to be.
Yeah, breaking through that fear.
All right, my freaking foot fell asleep. I'm
Oh
sorry if
no.
I'm kind of like jittery here. It's just like
Stretch it
I
out.
just fell
Stretch it
asleep. It
out.
just like went numb, and I'm like, oh shit.
There's the con of van life.
Yeah, not
You're squished in there and your foot falls asleep. I'm just kidding. You look like you actually have lots
or-
of room there.
yeah. I built this chaise. I call it a chaise, like a chase lounge. Um, yeah, this was actually a seat with a seat belt. There was 2 other seats in the back here with a seat belt, and I'm like, "I'm never gonna be traveling with like, there's not gonna be 4 of us in this van traveling.
Yeah,
I'm by myself." So I kept the passenger seat and just the driver's seat, and, I took the 2 back seats out, and it opens it up more, I find.
I think that was a good call. And now you have a
Yeah.
seating area too, a more
Yeah.
comfortable seating area.
Yeah, and there's lots of storage underneath here, and, it's comfy. This is like my little nook where I come to chill,
The chill
talk to
zone.
you, talk to you.
So so if people want to see the van, the
Mhm.
Cream Dream, they can go on
The cream dream.
Instagram.
Yep, yep,
Are you public on Instagram?
I'm public on Instagram. Creep away.
Brit Mac.
Brit Mac, MACK like a Mack truck.
And on YouTube, once again, it's
Van Clans,
Van Clans. And then the
and,
video they're gonna look for is the
yep,
Cream Dream with
the cream
Brittany.
dream. I'm wearing my white, Sherpa jacket with the cream dream in the background. And also, on my Insta profile, I have the link to the YouTube video
Oh,
instead of
perfect.
anyone going right on YouTube and scrolling. So easy, just go to my page and click on the link on my bio, and it goes right to the video
Awesome.
of the Cream Dream.
Cream Dream. It's
Cream
beautiful.
Dream. What a name, eh?
I think it's perfect. It's perfect.
So sexual, but I love it.
Oh. So
Ooh, this is a good one. Getting back to, like, life and traveling and stuff. Life isn't about finding yourself, it's about creating yourself.
Ooh, I love that.
Me too.
Is
It's
that
one
your
of my favorite.
motto?
It should be.
I love that. As a creator, I love that because I feel like all the time, every single day. I mean, we all are. We're all creating ourselves, but I feel like because I like to express myself creatively,
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
actually create
You're
myself in the
always so creative.
process of being creative,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. I
You've
don't fucking
you've
know if that makes sense.
you've always been so creative though. I inspire.
I try.
Oh, here's another good one. And getting back to like traveling and like finding yourself and let me start again. I
Yeah,
can't
no
read my
problem.
writing clearly. We travel because distance and difference on the secret tonic of creativity. When we get home, home is still the same, but something inside our minds change, and that changes everything.
Wow. Ain't that the truth? That's
For
basically
real though.
what you said happened, right? Because would you say everything for you changed after you went on that first trip out west?
Literally, yeah. I call that my spiritual journey. I found myself, not like, yeah. I literally I found myself. I have this deep connection with the mountains because that's where that's where I had my spiritual journey. I felt like I was kind of in a shitty place, um, spiritually and like mentally. I wasn't myself, and I felt like I needed that. I needed to be alone and find myself again, and I found that traveling. I found that in the mountains, and I love I love it for that.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm so glad you agreed to talk to me, and we have known each other since we were so young.
So young.
So,
Yep.
like 5 years old.
Yep. Yep. And then
And
we went to the same high school.
yeah,
What did we go to the same elementary school too? Yes.
no.
Oh.
Yeah, so we went to the same high school, and for as long as I've known you, you have been one awesome, awesome girl.
Thank
And
you,
I'm so
girl.
happy to have known you and to get to see all your adventures so I can live vicariously through you. Who knows, maybe one day we'll go on an adventure together.
Hey, hopefully we'll rent that cabin in the middle of the woods.
Yeah. Hope it's not like a secret
You
window
stay
situation
you can stay in the cabin, I'll stay in the driveway.
in your van. Perfect.
It'll it'll be like us traveling solo, right?
Traveling solo buddies, I'll just in case I lose it.
Yeah. Oh my god, too funny.
I just wanna thank you again so much for doing
No,
it.
honestly, Carly, thank you so much. It's been fun.
It's been
It's been
fun,
fun. I love talking about like all of this. It was lovely.
and I
And it
love
was
hearing
awesome
about
and it was awesome seeing you. My
awesome to
god,
see you too.
it's been so long.
I know. We'll have to get together once all this madness is over.
Absolutely. Absolutely, girl.
I wish you all the best in your future endeavors and your future adventures.
Thank you. You
You're
too.
welcome. Take care. Mwah. Until next time.